Today, our entire mission rests on just 15 characters. I mean, it's a single sentence, translated from Chinese, that makes a claim so massive it attempts to rewrite humanity's entire place in the
But
universe.
then, of course, it offers absolutely zero proof to back it up.
Right, exactly. Welcome to this custom-tailored deep dive. You are probably used to us unpacking massive documents, sprawling encyclopedias, or dense 50-page research
The
papers.
really heavy stuff.
Yeah, the heavy stuff. But today, we are facing down one of the shortest, most frustrating, and depthly provocative pieces of source material we have ever been handed.
It really is incredibly brief, which, completely changes the nature of our analysis today. We aren't evaluating a methodology here.
No, no.
We're doing a rigorous linguistic and philosophical deconstruction of a single, highly pressurized fragment.
Let me just lay out the exact translated contents of today's source so you, the listener, know exactly what we are dealing with.
Go for it.
So this comes from a document that is literally titled Pasted Text, and it features one paradigm-shifting sentence by an author named Xue Feng.
Just the one.
Just one. Here's the entirety of the text. Quote, evidence that the Earth is managed by higher life forms. Xue Feng. End of document.
Yeah, that is the complete artifact. Just
Yeah.
the naked claim.
And my initial reaction to this is, frankly, intense skepticism. Why should we even give this the time of day?
I get that.
I mean, anyone can write a provocative title on a digital Post-it note, right? If I hand you a piece of paper that just says, proof the moon is made of synthetic cheese, and walk away.
I wouldn't call that philosophy.
Exactly. I haven't given you a profound philosophical text. I've given you a lazy thought experiment. Without the actual evidence attached, isn't this just a trap?
Well, I mean, that is a completely fair initial reaction. But I'd argue you are dismissing the rhetorical power of the fragment itself.
Okay, how so?
Think about it. When we receive a 50-page manifesto on extraterrestrial life or ancient anomalies, our brains immediately start categorizing and judging.
Right, we look for the holes.
Exactly. We look at the author's credentials, we scrutinize the blurry photographs, we find flaws in their timeline, we put it in a box.
We label it science fiction or whatever.
Yeah, science fiction or a new religious movement or just an internet conspiracy.
Because we have enough material to build the box. We can see the shape of their argument and decide if we buy it or not.
Precisely. The surrounding context usually gives us an easy off-ramp to dismiss the core premise. But what Xue Feng has inadvertently done here,
Or deliberately done, maybe.
right, whether through a digital glitch that clipped the rest of his text or as a deliberate stylistic choice, he stripped away all that insulating context. We are denied the comfort of easy categorization.
Wow, okay.
We can't critique his methodology because there isn't one. We are forced to sit in an empty room with this monumental thesis statement entirely on its own merit.
So the lack of context is actually what gives it weight.
Yeah.
Because there's no bad evidence to debunk, my brain can't just throw the whole thing out. I have to actually grapple with the premise itself.
It creates a vacuum, and, human cognition absolutely despises a vacuum.
We really do.
When you are presented with a stripped-down claim of this magnitude, your mind is forced to do the heavy lifting that the text refused to do.
Right.
And because we are forced to sit with it, the specific words Xue Feng chose to include in those 15 characters start to carry an enormous amount of semantic weight.
Which brings us to the verb. I mean, in this entire string of text, the word that stops me in my tracks isn't higher life forms, it's the word managed.
Yes, that is the key.
Let's really look at this because I have to push back on the typical tropes we usually see in discussions about humanity's place in the cosmos.
Go on.
The sentence does not say evidence that the Earth was created by higher life forms, nor does it say we are visited by them. It specifically uses the language of administration.
The distinction between creation, visitation, and management is the hinge on which this entire philosophical framework turns.
Totally.
Let's break down the implications. If the text claimed the Earth was created by higher life forms, it places the action entirely in the past.
Like an origin story.
Right. It invokes the classic watchmaker analogy. A supreme intelligence builds the intricate clockwork of the universe, winds it up, steps back, and lets it tick away on its own.
I always think of that as the terrarium model. You know,
Sure.
you buy the glass box, you put the dirt in, you plant the seeds, you drop in a few insects, and then you just sit back and watch what happens from the outside.
Exactly. The creator is completely detached from the ongoing daily operations. It is fundamentally theological and historically distant.
Right. And what about visitation?
Well, let's consider the alternative, being visited or observed by higher life forms. This implies like a wildlife documentary crew filming a pride of lions from a safe distance.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
The intelligence is present, perhaps even active in our current timeline. But their primary directive is non-interference. They're anthropologists taking notes. They're not steering the ship.
But managed obliterates both of those models. I mean, management is not hands-off, and it's not a historical event. Management is active, ongoing oversight.
Ongoing.
When I hear that word, I don't picture glowing orbs of light or distant deities. I picture middle management. I picture, like, spreadsheets, clipboards, and cosmic bureaucracy.
It scales up the mundane realities of organizational structure to a planetary level, which is a profoundly different psychological space to inhabit.
It really is.
Think about the mechanics of management. A manager doesn't just watch. A manager intervenes when systems go off course. A manager allocates resources, adjusts parameters, and corrects inefficiencies.
And if there is middle management, the logic dictates there is upper management.
Oh, inevitably.
It implies a hierarchy, a corporate structure of the cosmos, which totally demystifies the idea of an advanced intelligence.
It really grounds it.
Yeah. We tend to romanticize higher life forms as these perfectly enlightened, ethereal beings. But if they are managing us, it suggests that intelligence, no matter how advanced, still relies on administration.
And, it also completely recontextualizes how we view chaos.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we walk through life perceiving the world as a chaotic, organic struggle. The rise and fall of civilizations, sudden shifts in the climate, technological leaps. We view these as random fluctuations or the results of human agency.
Right, just stuff happening.
Exactly. But under the framework of planetary management, chaos might not exist. What we perceive as random might actually be scheduled interventions.
Oh, wow. That is a deeply unsettling thought.
Isn't it?
If a species goes extinct or a new technology radically alters our society, we assume it's just the natural progression of the terrarium. But if we are managed, was that a calculated adjustment by the administration?
Like a groundskeeper deciding to cull a weed.
Yes. Or introduce a new predator to balance the pond.
Or consider the human timeline. Are the sudden explosive leaps in technological advancement over the last century organic human achievements? Or are they managed milestones?
Well, I see where you're going.
If you play a simulation game, when your civilization reaches a certain threshold, the system unlocks the next technology tree. The discovery of electricity, the splitting of the atom, are these scheduled software updates rolled out by the administration.
Okay, let's take this a step further because this logic gets very dark very quickly.
It really does.
If you are created, you look to the past for your meaning. If you are observed, you might feel a sense of paranoia. But if you are managed, the immediate question you have to ask is, what are the metrics?
The KPIs.
Right. What is the goal of the project? A manager doesn't just manage for the sake of it. They manage toward a specific key performance indicator.
Exactly. Management implies a directive. It implies that the Earth is a system with an intended output. Are we a resource extraction project, a sociological experiment, a farm?
A farm. Oh.
The verb managed strips away human autonomy and replaces it with compliance. We are suddenly forced to wonder if we are complying with a directive we don't even comprehend.
And it makes you wonder about the quality of the management. I mean, if Earth is a managed enterprise, frankly, there seem to be a lot of inefficiencies.
Just look at the news.
Seriously, if a human manager ran a department with this much internal conflict and resource mismanagement, they'd be fired. So either the higher life forms are terrible at their jobs, or their goals for us are drastically different from our goals for ourselves.
Which is the most terrifying implication of all? A manager's priority is the health of the overall system, not the comfort of the individual components.
This all hinges on a massive assumption, though. We are spiraling down this rabbit hole of cosmic bureaucracy, but we are ignoring the glaring, frustrating reality of the text itself.
The very first word.
Yes, the very first word of the document. Evidence.
The promise of empirical proof.
Right. Evidence that the Earth is managed by higher life forms. Yubeng explicitly promises evidence, but the text cuts off before providing a single data point.
It is the ultimate intellectual cliffhanger.
So how should we actually process a claim that confidently announces it has proof, but refuses to show its hand?
Well, this brings us to a critical epistemological crisis. How we define what we know and the burden of proof.
Okay.
The word evidence is what makes this text so dangerous to the human mind. If Xu Feng had written, "I believe the Earth is managed," or "a theory that the Earth is managed," We could process it as a statement of faith or philosophy.
We could just nod and say, that's an interesting perspective and move on.
Right. But by using the word evidence, he is hijacking the authority of the scientific method. He is pulling the concept out of the realm of abstract theology and dragging it into empirical reality.
He's making it concrete.
Exactly. He is telling you that observable, measurable, or logically deducible proof exists in the physical world.
But he doesn't give it to us, which feels like a deliberate rhetorical manipulation. Claiming you have evidence without showing it fundamentally weaponizes the way human cognition works.
How so? Walk through the mechanics of that.
Well, the human brain is essentially a pattern recognition machine. We are biologically hardwired to find connections, even where none exist. It's how we survive.
Sure.
When a text explicitly tells you there is evidence for this massive claim but leaves the page blank, your brain experiences a profound cognitive itch. It hates an open loop. So instead of demanding Xu Feng prove his point, your brain subconsciously starts doing his job for him.
It triggers intense confirmation bias.
Exactly. Without specific evidence to scrutinize, you start scanning your own environment. You become the investigator.
You fill in the blanks.
You look at a bizarre historical coincidence or the sheer mathematical perfection of a spiral galaxy or even a weird string of luck in your own life, and suddenly your pattern-seeking brain asks, wait, is that the evidence? Is that the management?
And that is the brilliant, insidious power of an evidentiary void. If Xu Feng had provided a lift of his evidence, say, he pointed to a specific archaeological site or a specific anomaly in quantum physics, we would focus all our critical thinking on debunking that specific claim.
We would tear apart his data.
We'd debate the physics, find the flaw, and close the book. The idea would die right there.
Wow, yeah.
But by withholding the proof, he turns the entire everyday world into a potential crime scene of cosmic management. The text doesn't need to provide the evidence, because it excessively tricks the reader into manufacturing it.
Wild.
It forces the presence of inquiry in the reader's mind. You start looking at the systems of your daily life, biological, historical, societal, through a completely altered lens.
That's like putting on a pair of tinted glasses that you can't ever take off. Once the concept of management is planted, accompanied by the authoritative promise of evidence, you start seeing the potential footprints of administration everywhere.
And that is why this 15-character fragment is arguably more viral and sticky in the human mind than a 1,000-page textbook on the same subject.
Because it haunts you.
Yes, a textbook provides closure. This fragment refuses to let your brain rest. It demands that you constantly evaluate your reality against this invisible framework.
Okay, let's take a breath and look at the sheer distance we've just traveled today. We started with a digital scrap, a document literally called pasted text, containing a single sentence translated from Chinese. Evidence that the Earth is managed by higher life forms.
And from that microscopic seed, we've navigated a massive philosophical shift.
We really did. We moved away from the comforting, distant concept of a divine creator and confronted the gritty, active, and somewhat terrifying reality of cosmic middle management.
We explored what it means to be administered rather than simply observed.
We debated the goals of a planetary-scale enterprise and questioned whether the chaos we experience is actually just scheduled maintenance by an unseen administration.
Scheduled maintenance, I love that.
And perhaps most importantly, we broke down the epistemological trap of the word evidence. We explored how an author can hijack the authority of science and weaponize our own pattern recognition instincts just by leaving a sentence unfinished.
So bringing this back to the core mission of our deep dives.
Yeah.
Why does spending this much time on a single incomplete sentence actually matter to you listening to this right now?
I think it matters because engaging with a fragment like this is an intense workout for your critical thinking. It trains your mind to question the default settings of your reality.
I completely agree. We walk through life surrounded by incredibly complex systems. Nature, the economy, global politics, even the traffic on our morning commutes.
Right.
Our default setting is to accept these systems as organic, chaotic, or simply the way things are. We are passive observers of our own context.
But when you absorb a premise like Xu Feng's, it forces a profound perspective shift. Like if you were sitting in a grid-like traffic jam today, you might normally just curse the chaotic congestion. But through this lens, you have to stop and ask critically, is this organic chaos or is this a managed parameter? What is the system trying to achieve? It makes you an active participant in questioning reality rather than just floating through it.
It demands that you differentiate between the natural progression of a terrarium and the deliberate adjustments of an administrator. It keeps your intellectual curiosity sharp in a world that constantly asks you to just accept the surface level without looking at the underlying mechanisms.
It absolutely does. It turns the mundane into a puzzle. And I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, something to take with you as you navigate your way through your managed or unmanaged world today.
Let's hear it.
If Xu Feng's hidden premise is entirely correct, if there truly is empirical, undeniable evidence that Earth is being actively managed by higher life forms right now, what would their quarterly performance review of humanity actually look like?
What are the key performance indicators they are tracking?
Exactly. When the Cosmic Administration looks at the spreadsheet of Earth today, are we hitting our targets? Are we generating the intended output? Or are we the deeply unprofitable, chaotic department that is currently on the verge of experiencing some very drastic new management restructuring?
Something to think about.
Keep your eyes open. You never know when you might spot the evidence.